Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast. How's it going? Hope everyone's having a fantastic evening. I'm your host today, Darren McClymans, and I am here joined by the one, the only, the fantabulously amazing, the Red Arrow, Brayden. How's it going today? How are you?
That was a lot of compliments and more than I could have ever expected in one day. Thank you. It's going pretty good.
Good. I'm very glad. I always love when I can get you on the channel. Obviously, we've been friends for a good while now, and it's always a real pleasure to have a good old chat. Just to shout out the people in the comments, just as we're just kind of getting started here. Stranger in the chat, how's it going? They say, what up, party people? We're all doing very well, I think. I'm very excited because, I think this is a movie. The Flash came out this week, obviously last weekend. And it's been such a crazy ride kind of going into this movie because it feels like we've been waiting like a century. Like this movie has been like in the works for such a long time now. And I'm very excited, for when we can officially jump in and really talk about this movie. So starting off, I want to jump into some news stories throughout the week. Some cater to you that I thought you might have a fun time talking about, and some that I just kind of wanted to bring up and talk about. So first up, Malcolm in the Middle. Now, I know you're a big Malcolm in the Middle fan. I know we had talked about it in the past. So Bryan Cranston says he's been working on a script for a Malcolm in the Middle revival. He said, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd say an 8, that we'll do a reunion movie show or something. Now, I know this is obviously a show that you're a huge fan of. Is this something that you would want to see? And do you think this will actually happen?
Well, Darren, I'm not much of a social media person, so I had no idea this was a thing until just
Surprise!
Now. What? This is happening?
Yeah.
Well, Bryan Cranston says there's an 80% chance it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm so down. Dude, I don't know what it was that Frankie Muniz, I think he went on to be like a NASCAR racer or something like that. Or he competed in a NASCAR race. And that's so insane to me. But I would love to see everyone again. The show is it's like my favorite sitcom of all time, so.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I know this is just such an iconic show. I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't got through the whole thing yet. And I've heard talks about it over the years, but it does seem like Bryan Cranston, this is something that he wants to do. I think it's very funny after all these years doing very serious roles when it comes to of course, Breaking Bad and all these movies and shows he does. I do think it would be very fun to see him go back into a comedy setting, which is kind of where he started, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I have no idea what he did, but for the show, if anything, so I couldn't tell you where he started.
Sure. Up next, really quick. Again, I have you on the show, so I tried to bring in some news stories I thought you would find, have something to say about it. So, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One is tracking to earn $90 million in the film's domestic opening weekend. And we don't have to talk about the box office as a whole, but I did kind of want to, hear your kind of thoughts going into this movie because I know this is a franchise that you're really excited for. Are you excited to see this movie?
Yeah, this is my most anticipated movie of the year. So, and it has been since day one, still is.
Sure.
So, I'm very, very excited for this movie. The last one was one of my favorite movies ever. I thought
Mm-hmm.
Mission Impossible Fallout was awesome. And this one being a two-parter is interesting. So, yeah, I'm ready to see it for that reason, just to see like how much are they really going to do in this movie and set up the next movie at the same time. Like how I'm assuming this is going to be like the finale for this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens if anyone dies, who will die, all that, all the good stuff you look for in these big franchise movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this, I have, again, not dived into this franchise myself yet, but it does seem like this has been such a massively big thing for just Tom Cruise and all the fans of him. And this franchise, like, they have seemed to have done a good job at keeping the hype for fans. And keeping people coming back for more because it does seem like this is still like 7 movies in, still a franchise people are really excited to come back and watch.
Yeah, once a movie franchise like gets this far in, it's kind of pretty rare for them to stay good. But I think Mission Impossible has been one of the more consistent ones in that regard. Like I think Scream's been pretty consistent too. I like most of
Mm-hmm.
those
Yeah.
movies. They're still going strong. Mission Impossible, same thing. They're still going strong. I think the only other franchise that I've seen that like had 6+ movies and I could say it was going in a positive direction was probably Harry Potter. So,
Sure.
which I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm sure like there's people that love that. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would argue that like the MCU is a weird one because each movie is kind of its own thing, and it's like they have franchises like within a
yeah, that's
franchise. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. Like
yeah,
I don't count the entire
sure.
MCU as one single
That's fair.
franchise.
That
Like
is
the
very
MCU is a
fair.
flagship and it has multiple franchises in it. Like
Hmm.
Iron Man is a franchise, Captain America is a different franchise,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is
Yeah,
a different franchise from that. So that's how
yeah,
I view it.
yeah. No, that's absolutely fair. And I hope this movie does well because I know there's a lot of fans who like this franchise. So let's move over to some slight MCU news. Now I know you have not been keeping up with everything, but this is regarding Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think you saw and you liked, right?
Yes, and I see this headline right now saying that the High Evolutionary lives. Fuck. And oh, sorry. Is this supposed to be a PG show?
You can swear. You can swear basically as much as you want.
Okay. Yeah, no, I hate that guy.
Yeah, so I want to read this article really quick. The physical release of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 includes 8 deleted scenes, which is quite a lot, with one confirming that the High Evolutionary lives. The High Evolutionary is brought back to nowhere and locked up while Kragan recruits Adam Warlock. So this is interesting because James Gunn announced, or had said this a couple months ago that he didn't die, that he was still alive, and was able to appear in other MC projects down the line. It is a very interesting thing because I did love him as a villain. I think he made a fantastic villain. The actor, so good. Like he blew this part out of the water. But then there is the part like he was so good that you want him dead. Like you want him to die and have blown up. I am going to be very curious though if he does appear in other places, and if so, where that is, because like we know Peter Quill is still around. We know some of these characters like Rocket are still around as well. So could they pop up with them again? I'm going to be very curious.
Yeah, what interests me about this, it's kind of the Kraglin recruiting Adam Warlock thing.
Hmm.
or wait, the High Evolutionary and locked up while Kraglin. Who is Kraglin?
Kraglin is that's like James Gunn's brother, the like guy with the stick, the like flying stick.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, never mind. Okay,
stick's not the like
I was
right
like,
word. Yeah.
at first I thought Kraglin was like a bad guy, but then I was like, no, he's not, is he? Because I was like, Adam Warlock was a member of the team at the end.
Yeah.
though.
So was Kraglin.
So I was
Yeah.
confused at first, but yeah, Kraglin was Yondu's apprentice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that ending with like Kraglin, as cool as that scene would have been, I think it hits harder seeing them all on the team at like the like very end. Like I like seeing that reveal of all these new Guardians teaming up and stuff like that. So I'm glad that one was cut. And again, I'm very curious about the like High Evolutionary stuff and why maybe that was cut. Maybe they want to wait to show that he's alive for future stuff. Again, I don't know where these characters are going to pop up again, if they ever pop up again. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Good.
I agreed with you with the High Evolutionary being a good villain, though. I think he's one of the better like MCU villains.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's definitely the best villain in one of the Guardians movie. He was stronger than Ronan, and he's stronger than Ego.
I agree.
Like, and he's not even much of a physical threat either. It's just
I felt like they tried to make him a physical threat, but like when it came to the Guardians, he didn't really do much to them, which was kind of interesting.
I mean, he's a threat in other ways.
Sure.
But physically not really, which, I mean, the MCU is kind of good at doing that, though, because Zemo is also kind of that way. Like, physically not a threat, but mentally, totally.
Sure. Absolutely. Moving right along here, we got a couple more headlines. So I don't know if you'll have anything to say about this one, but I did think it was a very interesting one for just like MCU fans and also just fans of like the What If series. I don't know if you watched the like What If show at all, but Marvel is launching a series of What If books in 2024, including What If Loki Was Worthy, which kind of sounds interesting, a story about Loki and Valkyrie. What if Wanda and Peter were siblings, a Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man story, which that's a weird one for sure. And what if Mark Spector was a host to Venom? Are you a fan of the show What If at all, or is none of that a real interest to you?
I never watched it.
Okay.
Mark Spector. Who is Mark Spector? Oh wait, Mark Spector. That's Moon Knight, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I was like, my mind went to the Spectre, but that's a DC character, so I was like, no, I'm totally wrong there. And then I was like Moon Knight's the only thing that made sense.
I was like, wait a minute, no. Stephen Amell's that? No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I think this is kind of cool for fans of like this show that wants a little bit more, and it gives creative artists more room to tell these stories. I think that second one about Wanda and Peter is that's a weird one for sure, but I'm not against it, I guess.
The second one is what if Wanda and Peter were siblings, and while you were reading that, I'm like, they are, because like Quicksilver's name is Peter.
Peter. Oh yeah, sure.
But then it's Spider-Man, so I was like, oh, okay, that would be weird.
I mean, maybe Peter Parker becomes Quicksilver instead. That'd be a twist.
Imagine if he was still Spider-Man with the powers of Quicksilver. He would be. Oh
sure.
My God, that would be so sick. That would be insane.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. This is very interesting. I also kind of wanted to bring up that like we don't really know what's happening with the show currently because season 2 has been done for about like 2.5 years. We've heard nothing about when that's going to come out, when we're going to get the second season. It was supposed to be last year, didn't come out. It was supposed to come out this year. Also seems like it's not coming out this year. So maybe 2024. I don't know. We'll have to see though. Moving right along here, I want to talk about this because this had come out a little bit after, I think like an hour or two ago, and I kind of wanted to bring it up. So Warner Brother Discovery is in talks to sell half of the studio's film, TV, and music publishing assets for $50 or $500 million. It is believed to include music from Purple Rain, Rent, and several Batman films. So this is kind of interesting. I know there's been like this last year for like Warner Brothers has been a mess, right? I think we can all agree. Terrible year for this company with like Good.
the past few years for Warner
Yeah.
Bros has been a mess.
This year's been rough with like the buyout happening and everything with HBO Max and all the cancellations and what that has caused for other studios to be like, you know what, we can do this too because they got away with it. And they are clearly looking for money. They're clearly trying to get out of debt. Are you okay with them selling out to other studios for like streaming rights and putting shows on other things? Like I think it's HBO is planning on selling some of their properties over to like Netflix to air some of their stuff over there. Are you okay with this? Are you concerned maybe what this could mean for like some of these properties?
Well, it just says music, so I'm confused about like
It it
what
says film, TV, and music.
it says. Film and TV music,
I guess that's true. Um,
and then it
I know
said
they
like
had. I
the
know there's
bottom said music
okay,
from. So
sure.
I don't know.
I
I don't understand that if it's
sure.
just the music.
I guess you're right. I guess you're right. I think it is. So it might just be music here. But like but I know they're also wanting to sell out to like Netflix and stuff to have their stuff stream over there. So I don't know. I mean this could be okay, I guess,
I
right?
mean, I think the stuff they have now, they should just like keep with them if they want to sell the new stuff, some of their new stuff to like other streaming services,
Mhm.
like they're doing with Cape Crusader. They're selling it to
Yeah.
Amazon. I think stuff like that is fine, but like if it's already in your gallery, why get rid of it? Like
I,
people are accustomed to it being there, so
sure.
why take it away?
I understand like a Purple Rain or like Rent, but like what are people going to use like Batman music for? Like I wonder like what the context to that would be. I guess like parody type stuff and like jokes and stuff, but I don't know.
But I mean, you already have to like pay royalties if you use music for anything
Hmm.
with permission. So I don't know, like, what does selling it really mean? Like, does that mean they're flat out selling it to like if a company buys that, they can use it for anything?
I think so. I think that's what that would mean.
That would be so weird though, like hearing Batman music in a non-Batman movie.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. Like what scenario would they need Batman music for? Is it just parody and like stuff like that? Like make it a joke, like oh Batman music is like I would be curious to see what the context is for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see like maybe a lot of like maybe indie movies doing it or like fan made movies, like anyone
Sure.
that's got a budget to like buy music from Warner Bros. To maybe do it for that.
Yeah, that's a very yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting one indeed. So these next two articles, kind of as we dive into our Flash discussion here. Now we did talk about both these articles yesterday, but since you were here, I kind of wanted to bring them back up. And as we are talking about this movie, so Sasha Calais has said she's met with Peter Safran about her future as Supergirl. Felt like my whole life was preparing me for this role in a way. So obviously Sasha was in this new Flash movie. Everyone seems to love her, adore her. What was your kind of take on this version of Supergirl, and do you want to see more of her?
Okay, so this tweet kind of tells us nothing, right? Like it doesn't confirm or
It
deny if
doesn't
she's
tell us if
going to
she's
continue.
staying. Yeah, no. It basically just says that she has met with Peter about her future. That could mean she's gone. That could mean she's staying. All
I
that
will
kind of
say
stuff.
I will okay, I will say this. I would like her to stay because what I saw of her I really enjoyed.
Me too. I think she did a. I think she did. I think she's my favorite part of this movie. I really do. Like I think there's I know.
Look,
I know what you're gonna say.
okay, no. What my favorite part of this movie is probably a worse thing to say, but
Okay.
I am a very truthful person, so I
Mm.
think Ezra Miller was the best part of this movie. I think
Mm.
their performance was the best, but that's mostly. Well, I don't want to say mostly because the performance was terrific, and we'll get into that later.
Yes. Yes.
But I don't think Supergirl or Batman, Michael Keaton or Ben Affleck, no other character was in this enough, like really, to be my favorite part of it. Because
That's fair.
I loved Supergirl for how much she was in it, but she didn't really come in until the third act.
That is true. Like there was a lot less of her than I thought. Like they promoted the hell out of her, and She wasn't in much, which was, a little concerning.
And neither was Michael Keaton. Like, he's not in much of this either. Like, the first half of this movie is all Flash.
Which I like, which is what I
mean,
wanted.
That's kind of what I was expecting, but like from how
Yeah.
much they were promoting the other characters, I assumed that we would see them earlier.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Chosen Vader says, "Yo, what is up? It's good to see you here once again. Hope you're doing well." So again, this next one, I talked about it yesterday, but you were here and I wanted to bring it up again. Batman Beyond. So apparently, a Batman Beyond film with Michael Keaton was reportedly in talks. Had The Flash performed well at the box office.
Michael Keaton Batman Beyond thing has been a rumor for like the past 5 years, so I don't believe any of it until one of these movies goes into production. I'm not gonna believe a single headline. I don't care if it's from the Hollywood Reporter or Deadline or whoever.
Sure.
I don't care if Michael Keaton himself says yes. We're doing this Batman Beyond movie. I would need to hear David Zaslav and James Gunn be like, yes, we're doing this Batman Beyond movie. If it's not from one of those two, I'm not going to believe it.
It's been such a crazy ride because like it was rumored heavily, 8 or so months ago that like there was a canceled project that's no longer happening. Then there was rumors of like this like animated movie, which I'd still love to see. And then, this of course came out recently. And I do believe that this is something that they would want to do. I think Batman Beyond is a property for them that could do very well. I mean, they love Batman and they're always looking to do new stuff with Batman. So I think this is something they would want to do. And I don't think it's too late for them to do it either, because like James Gunn has opened up the world for like Elseworld now. Like that's an option for them. And, if that's with Michael Keaton or if it's not, like, I think you can always dive into that world if you want to.
I mean, I would really love for them to do this with Michael Keaton while it's still time.
Sure.
But I'm so burnt out on the Batman Beyond, like, rumors. Like, there have been so many Batman Beyond movies that I can't even say have gone into development, but, like, have had scripts or at least have started some kind of pre-production, and then just gotten canned immediately. Like this has been going on since like 2002. And like even the direct-to-video DC animated, like there's been plenty of Batman Beyond movies like scrapped for that. I'm like, why can you not just give us another Batman Beyond movie? We haven't had a show or a movie with that specific character since 2001.
And I think he's a character that would fit in really well, like right now, as we are kind of heading into like the future almost. Like it feels like we are heading into like a new generation.
The most I believed of any of these Batman Beyond rumors was after Spider-Verse did really well, and then the rumor came out that they might do a CG animated Batman Beyond movie. I was like, that makes too much sense. That makes too much sense. That's money.
It would look Batman
really cool. And yeah. Like that Gotham, Neo Gotham would look so incredible.
It would look really good.
Yes. I want it so bad.
And I think more is coming. Like I think animation in like DC is. I think we're going to get a lot more of that. I think James Gunn seems very dedicated on doing live action, animated, and games. So I'm hoping animation, like when Creature Commandos comes out, I want people to watch it because I think it depends on how that does. If people go and watch that show, I don't know.
Does that have a release date yet?
It is. James Gunn said it in about a year, so 2024 seems like when that's coming out. So I would expect
so we get Harley Quinn season 4 this summer, and Creature Commandos will be next year.
Yes, it's 2024. James Gunn said in about a year, so I would bet late summer, maybe like early fallish. I think it could land. Yeah, we'll have to see though.
I'm so excited for Harley Quinn. I know that has nothing to do with either of the things we were talking about. It's animation still though, so.
Yeah, no, true. I mean, I didn't that would have been a topic I would have talked about last week, and I completely forgot. Yeah, I mean, it did get confirmed that it's going to be this summer. I want a release date for it. I want something from it because we've heard.
I'm wondering if they're going to wait until when's Comic-Con? It's like in a couple weeks, right?
That's yeah. It's
I'm
next
wondering
month.
If they're going to wait for that to announce release dates for a lot of this stuff.
I think DC might drop a lot this year because they have a lot like they could drop, right? I mean, just for stuff now, like we could get another Blue Beetle trailer. We need a Aquaman trailer. Like we need like it comes out in 5 months. We need something from that movie. Harley Quinn is there.
Yeah,
Obviously,
if they don't drop an Aquaman trailer by the time Blue Beetle comes out, what are they doing?
Yeah, I don't know. That movie's so confusing. Like I that's a mess of a movie. I've been talking about it nonstop on here a lot recently, but like it's
because of what happened in the Flash, I'm even more confused about what the
yes.
Batman scene in Aquaman 2 is going to be like. Because is it even going to make sense for whether it's Ben or Keaton? Like, is it going to make sense either way, or did they refilm one with Clooney? Like,
It's a weird, but yeah, because it started off with no Batman, and then it was
oh, spoilers by the way.
yeah. It's like spoiler stream. It's in the title.
Oh, okay, cool.
We're good. Actually, I'll probably put a spoiler thing up in just a couple minutes. But yeah, I mean, it started with forgot what I was gonna say. Michael Keaton. It started with Michael, and he was gonna be, and then we're like, no, it comes out before the Flash. Now it's Ben Affleck, and now it seems like no Batmans. I don't know.
I don't know either, dude. What if that movie like isn't even Aquaman 2 and it's something like it's a Lobo movie?
I would love a Lobo movie. I would watch the heck out of a Lobo movie.
I want Jason Momoa as I don't care about him as Aquaman anymore. I want him as Lobo so bad. He looks like freaking Lobo. Slap some white face paint on him. He's Lobo.
Yeah. I'm down if he's both. I really am. Like I think
I'd be down for that too.
I think casual audience like put him in makeup and he's fine.
Those are two characters that like they never have to interact whatsoever either.
Oh yeah, and I think Lobo's probably like a one-off character too. Like he's not like we're getting a Lobo series. You know, I don't like. I think he'd be in like a Superman movie. And that's probably it. So
I would love for like I mean if they got to the point of like a Crisis on Infinite Earths or something like that for him maybe to show back up there. But yeah, just like throw him in a Superman movie. Like
yeah,
I would love for. I wouldn't even be shocked if he's the main villain of Superman Legacy for James Gunn to pull that card.
Yeah.
I would love for him to do that, honestly, because like I think Brainiac is good for the second movie. I think he's too strong for an opening movie. So I would love Lobo to be the first and Lex just have Lex there as the rich corporate asshole.
Yeah.
And Lobo's the main villain of the first movie. Set up Brainiac. Brainiac's in the second movie. Oh my god.
There's a part of me that wants Brainiac for like Justice League. Like I think he can
that would work too, dude.
Yeah.
Like if you're not gonna do Darkseid, like Brainiac's like next level for that.
Yeah, because like you have Superman Legacy and Supergirl both like films in that first half.
Who's gonna be the villain for Supergirl? That's an interesting question too.
I mean I've heard people say Lobo for Supergirl, and honestly I can see that because Supergirl is a very like space odyssey type movie. Lobo could fit in there as well, which could be really fun.
Well, Lobo, I mean, I wasn't even thinking about it being in space because Lobo's a bounty hunter, so I was thinking about maybe just I don't know, someone puts a bounty on Superman. But
sure.
That's I don't know. Either one would work. Like it can be a space movie, it can be on Earth, it can be on an alien planet. Like Lobo can fit anywhere, and that's fine.
Sure.
Like, he's such a good character for a movie. Oh, I'm ready to see him.
Me too. So I do kind of want to jump into this Flash movie. So I do want to pull up Chosen Vader's chat. We were talking about our favorite elements of this movie. Chosen Vader said Barry 2, young Barry was the best part of this movie. So I thought this was I thought it was very interesting what they did with Ezra Miller in this movie, because they had to play 3 almost separate characters in this film, and I didn't really. Again, I have to see it again, but it didn't. I didn't really notice it too often much. Like he kind of just felt, or they kind of just felt like different characters to me.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Like the gap in maturity and like I don't know what the the other word would be, but like the younger Barry takes more for granted than the older Barry does. Have like he grew up with a mom with both parents, and he's
Hmm.
also just younger, so he doesn't have as much life experience. And older Barry, he grew up with nothing. He's older, he's more experienced. He's had experience with the Justice League at this point. He's literally fought a worldwide threat, saved the world. So he's been
Yeah.
through a lot. He's been through a lot more than the other Barry has. So of
Yeah.
course, it makes sense that they're completely different people, although they're both Barry.
Yeah. I mean, I think I just meant that like often when you have a show or movie that has like the same actor playing two characters, it's very noticeable to me. Like, oh yeah, that's two separate characters. That's one person, two separate characters. But I didn't really think about it too much. Like, oh yeah, that's two separate things there. And I know. Like, I think the CGI is a thing people have been really like harping on in this movie. I didn't like when it came to like Ezra. I didn't notice it too awful much on him.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the main thing like with the two Barrys that it was kind of showing was that like although what Barry did was out of goodwill and he missed his mom and all that, losing his parents is a big part of what made him who he was. So
Yeah. So honestly, okay. So I kind of want to start at the beginning, just kind of the opening of this movie, which I'll be honest, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I think it's some of my favorite stuff of this movie, mainly because we got to really see the like DCEU what felt like for the first time in a while. Like there's been a lot of Suicide Squads and Black Adams and all that fun stuff, but this felt like it was the first time in a good while that we got to see our Justice League type world and the Flash and Batman and Wonder Woman and all that kind of stuff. What did you think of just that whole opening fight scene with like Ben Affleck and Barry and all that stuff?
so the opening, I thought this was like kind of where the humor was the worst for me, but I thought it was where the action was the best. This is probably my
Hmm.
favorite action scene in the whole movie, especially like the Batman action stuff in this scene is freaking awesome. Like Ben Affleck's in some sick shots, and the actual interaction is pretty good. It
Hmm.
was nice seeing. I more so like the just interaction once Batman takes off the suit and he's just Bruce between Bruce and Barry after Barry
Yes.
kind of goes back for the first time, comes back, they have that talk, and then like the movie really gets off going. That was like the prologue of the movie basically.
Yeah.
One I really like seeing Wonder Woman 2, like seeing Gal one
Hmm.
last time was very nice, but it kind of felt off
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit.
There was that like hype factor of like, oh yeah, she is in this movie, but also the whole like just I think the like dialogue, and like all that kind of stuff felt very off to me. And I don't know, like
I feel like watching these movies, you would like it. You would feel like Wonder Woman was like the poster child for the DCEU or whatever we want to call this universe of movies. I don't think it ever had an official name, did it? Because some
just
people call it like the
yeah, just like
DCEU,
the
some people call it the
DCU, yeah.
Spider-Verse. Yeah, but like because she showed up in Shazam too, so it's like she's just kind of showing up everywhere.
It yeah, it seems like it's weird because it seems like they were trying to give fans something because it's been rough. And it seems like the easiest one they were able to get is Gal. It's like, all right, just keep bringing her back. Ben was out and they didn't know what they're doing with Henry. And I think Gal Gadot and
Man,
like,
they should have. I really wish they would have just filmed something with Henry. But I mean, he literally came back like what? Well, no, the announcement was the day before Gunn
mm,
got on, or before Gunn released him or whatever.
yeah,
So I don't know,
I
but
think there
I
was
wish they
a,
would have filmed a little something with him, so we got more of a
I,
little
well,
pre
the thing is
Flashpoint Justice League scene.
they did, but they took it out. There like
Oh,
was an
what?
ending. Yeah, oh yeah, Gal or Henry was in this movie, but they took it out after the whole James
What?
Gunn thing.
No,
Yeah, so I don't
no.
know. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up really quick.
That's
So
no. I want to see that. That better be a deleted scene, bro.
so there was three endings to this movie. I don't know if you saw this at all. I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Three
So what?
endings to the movie.
Yeah, so there was three potential endings to this movie. Um,
I just know about the ending we got and the fan screening ending, which was basically the same minus 20 seconds.
Here, let me talk about your favorite thing about this movie while I pull this article up.
I mean, my favorite thing was probably seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again, although I think Ezra's performance is what made the movie actually good because I mean he's in basic or they I'm sorry about the pronoun thing. They are in basically every scene of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So if their performance wasn't good at all or captivating, then this movie would be totally uninvesting. But I think emotionally he is definitely the most investing character. Barry is, and
Yes.
I mean, it's a Flash movie at the end of the day, so that's my favorite thing about this movie is that it is a Flash movie because it took us long enough to get one. And earlier you said it felt like we were waiting a century for this movie. We might not have been, but we did wait a freaking decade.
Yeah. No. I think Ezra Miller did do a really good job here. Like it's so I know it's a sticky situation when they have done so many things that we definitely don't approve of and so much controversy. But like when all that was happening, there was a lot of people who were like, well, why don't you just recast them and then like refilm all those scenes? It's very clear they could not have done that.
No, people that say those things have no idea of how how money works. Like,
Like,
do you know how expensive it would be to reshoot the entire movie with a different actor?
yeah, it has to like literally that's the whole movie. Like it really is the entire thing.
And that means you
Um
would either have to bring the other actors in to reshoot those scenes as well, so that's like literally
yeah.
starting from scratch, or you would have to shoot Barry scenes individually, both versions, with whoever the different actor was, and CGI that into where Ezra Miller was in the film, and that would be insanely expensive too.
Yeah.
That
And
would
this is
probably be more
already
expensive than just starting from scratch and just making a new movie, honestly.
this is already a very expensive movie. Like I think it's like the most expensive, like one of the most expensive like Warner Brother films of all time. Already here. So we
Is it more expensive or less expensive than Justice League?
I'm not sure. I think both are pretty expensive. I know that for sure.
I
All
feel
right. So
like
I
this.
pulled.
I
Go
feel
sorry.
like Flash was. I'm sorry. I was gonna say. I think
Go
Flash
ahead.
was like two. Is it 250? 250 million.
Mm-hmm.
Justice League is 300 million. I know that.
Yeah. Alrighty. I mean, it's a definitely up there. It's
Yeah,
definitely not a
they're
cheap movie.
both
And
cost
if they
a
did that,
whack amount of money.
it would have tripled. Like it's insane. So yeah, so this came out 5 days ago. So the Flash had three different endings during production. One, Michael Keaton's Batman, and obviously spoilers if you haven't seen the movie. The had Michael Keaton's Batman and Callie Supergirl at the courthouse. Number two was Callie Supergirl, um, Cavill's Superman, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, and Keaton's Batman at the courthouse. And number three was the one that we got. Out of these three, I assume everyone would have wanted two, right? I think that's everyone would have loved to have seen Cavill again.
Yes. If maybe there was more time for this movie and we hadn't already waited 10 years for it, they
Mm-hmm.
could have waited a bit longer, and like the end of the movie was just Barry with like the new version of the Justice League once like James Gunn gets his casting done.
Sure.
But out of like what we could have gotten out of these, yeah, two would have been definitely the best.
I think it's definitely a tricky slope because I think if you end with Cavill, fans want to see Cavill. Like fans are already upset about Cavill and everything that went down. I think if you say, hey, he's not coming back, and then you end the movie with him disappearing, right? I think that sets that fire that they're trying to get out, that they're trying to escape from. So I get why he wasn't in the third act. I wish he was in the first act though. I really do. I wish he was in. Like I wish we started this movie similar to how we started the like, animated movie with
I,
like
I
just like the. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think like even if it was Cavill, I don't think people should expect him because if Ezra is Barry in that scene, Ezra is not gonna be Barry moving forward. So
Mm-hmm.
all of them are going to be different. That was already a given. So having them at the end would have been fine. You already have Ezra, so why not everyone else?
I think it's a weird precedence that this movie kind of set off because going into this movie, you kind of expected, okay, they're going to somehow transition into this new universe, into this new timeline. So I expected to see maybe where Barry's face changes, or I don't know, some kind of reveal with Batman or something that would set up our new timeline. And it seems like this is completely on its own. It doesn't seem like really said, outside of there being a multiverse out there, they don't do much to set up this new timeline, which was kind of interesting and kind of against what James Gunn suggested, I guess.
Yes, but there is still Blue Beetle and Aquaman too. So like maybe the end credits of those, or maybe even events that happen in those movies, could like
Yeah.
correspond with Flashpoint, like they were happening at the same time when
Mm-hmm.
Barry fucked everything, and like that somehow transitions us into the new universe. I don't know.
Yeah, we know Blue Beetle is part of this new
I
universe,
kind of
James Gunn.
I kind of feel like it would make sense if maybe the Amanda Waller show did it though, because like she is a character that's going to
Yes.
stay. She's the character that's going to stay. So like maybe it would make sense to set it up there.
I think Amanda Waller is going to have a lot to set up other characters. Because we know, like, it seems like James Gunn is really forward on having heroes in all these other properties. We know that the Authorities is going to show up in the like Superman Legacy movie. It seems like Creature Commandos might have some stuff, some of their characters in there. Waller, I guarantee.
I wouldn't be shocked if like Waller and Creature Commandos are like tied if really close
Sure.
together. Because I feel like I don't know. I feel like Creature Commandos and Suicide Squad are just like two things that would go super well together.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we have Creatures, we have Amanda, and we also have Peacemaker season 2 at some point. It seems like after Superman Legacy at some point. So I'm very curious actually how they set this whole universe up, how they bring in certain characters. It seems like James Gunn, is very on board with taking his time, but also multitasking when it comes to seeing these different characters. So we'll have to see, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the pieces fall into place, and hopefully they fall very cleanly.
Sure, absolutely. So let's, I want to mention Ben Affleck as Batman because that was for me one of the big, one of the big things I was really excited for this movie to see because I love Ben Affleck's Batman. He's one of my favorite Batmans. How were you feeling about him in this movie?
I was ready to see him. It was I think what he had was good. I think he did good with what he had to do. He didn't have a ton. He's maybe in what 10 minutes of the movie, probably
Yeah.
max.
He had like gone on to say that this was his favorite stuff from his version of Batman, and that he finally like understood the character from this performance. And I thought that was a kind of weird statement because he didn't do much here. He kind of just, kind of had like a couple lines.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I can kind of get what he was saying there. I knew about that quote, but not fully. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not super in depth stuff, especially compared to like stuff he did in BVS and more so BVS than Justice League. But like his character had a lot of like deep stuff in that movie too. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's because like this Batman has slowly been growing like more or returning to his like more moral self. Like in BVS, he had
Sure.
lost his way, and by the end, he's starting to find his way back. And like Justice League, that's a continuation. And like this film, he seems pretty good with himself where he is, and he gives Barry some really solid advice. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that scene between him and Barry, I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite Ben Affleck Batman scene.
It was really good. It was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
freaking good.
yeah. It was there between that one, and then he has a scene in like Zack Snyder's Justice League that I thought was really really strong. Um, but yeah, I mean, I want to dive into like the plot of the movie itself, which is Flashpoint, which is obviously a film, a story that everyone, if you're a Flash fan, you know what Flashpoint is. Obviously, a great comic. There's a great movie. The show did a thing with it at one point. How did you just kind of feel about this adaptation of the story? Because it's a very different one than we've seen in the past.
I thought it was fine.
Moving on. No.
I don't really know what to say because like
Sure.
it's cool seeing Keaton again. It's cool seeing Supergirl in this, but like they're not in it a ton. I think they're in it enough, but like just
Hmm.
like once they inevitably die at the end, there's like no payoff to that. Like I felt no emotion. I
Sure.
don't know how how they could have handled it differently. Like maybe they could have played the moment more quietly, let that moment sit a bit more before like Barry rushes back in time. Like let us feel that for a minute because
Yeah.
that was a Batman that people grew up with. And Michael Keaton is my favorite live action Batman. So just the fact that I felt nothing when he died, like it kind of hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will say I wish we got to live in this world a little bit more because I think I think there was a real stakes issue in this movie because I didn't feel like it feels like in a world you could just take down Zod and then he could live in this world where Flashpoint normally, from what I've seen, like this world that he's created is in ruins. Like the world he's created a terrible future here and he has to go and fix it. And I never got that from this movie. And I don't know if you focus more on Zod as the villain or if you even focus more on Dark Flash. Because I thought like that was an element that I liked it, but I wanted more of that thing.
You see, when he came in and like threw Barry out of the timeline once he went back, saved his mom by putting the tomatoes back, which that was actually a really smart way for Barry to like save his mom, keep her from getting killed, is because his dad had to go back to the store for tomatoes. If he never goes back, then his mom isn't there alone; she doesn't get murdered. But once he goes back and gets pushed out, for a moment I was like, was that Eobard? Was that the Reverse Flash? Because I was like, is that the origin they're gonna do with like Reverse Flash killing his
Sure,
mom? But then like later on, like when we see him again, he really kind of looked like Savitar to me from the
he
Flash
did.
show.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this freaking Savitar? Are they doing Savitar in this movie? And that is what it ends up being, basically. It's the
It
future Flash.
no, oh yeah, no, it's literally like his suit to his like motivations.
Dude, it's Savitar.
I literally think if you merge CW Savitar and this story, if you like turn those two together, it's a great villain. I really do think that because
Oh
like
my
there's
god, dude! Imagine if this was season 3 of The Flash. Do you know how much that would have slapped?
oh no, I mean it would have been great. I mean because like Savitar is so confusing as a villain. Like they simplified him a lot here for me that he made for the most part sense. Like I know if you break it down, it probably doesn't make too much sense, but like it's a version of Barry that has tried to change time so much that he's gotten crazy. Like that's simple. It's a simple story like that I wish they went with Salvatore. Like they made Salvatore make no sense inside that show. Um, but yeah, no, I wanted
Yeah.
more. I wanted more Dark Flash because I think that concept was very cool. Like I think it's a very interesting concept for a villain, and
That seems like so exhausting though. Just like running through time to like keep yourself.
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder how long he was because he was like an old man.
Yeah. I don't know. I was really surprised that like Eobard was not in this movie at all. I was expecting Reverse Flash to be in it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that was cut from this movie. Clearly, there was a 4 hour cut here. If I had to make a guess, I would assume that maybe there were scenes in this movie setting him up. And then maybe that's your sequel villain is
Dude,
Stan.
if there is a director's like cut of this movie, even like no, we are not going to get a sequel either way, I would totally watch it just to see like all that stuff because I'm
Oh, I
curious of
would.
how much got cut and how much like that affected the movie.
I'm very curious because they had said that like this version is like the best version, but I don't know. There's a lot this movie I think needed. Like I
Yeah,
think
no,
this
it feels like there could have been a better version out there.
I think
Definitely.
this could have easily been 3 hours, easily.
Yeah, like it's a movie that actually feels like it could have used more. Like
Hmm.
it's crazy to say that about a 2.5 hour movie, but this it's a world altering movie, so of course it's a movie that's like it has to do a lot. So yeah, I mean 3 hours. I mean I wouldn't even say that's a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, you could have pushed 3:30 if you wanted to, and it's crazy because like the animated movie was like 1:30, and they did
Oh my god,
so
the
much.
animated movie. I yeah no, that's what I
I
was
don't
gonna
know how they
say.
did that.
Like I hate comparing the two, but like
Yeah.
it's just inevitable when you do adaptations of another story. Like people are going to compare the animated movie to the comic. People are going to compare this to the comic. People are going to
Hmm.
compare this to the animated movie. I prefer the animated movie over this tenfold. Like I
100%.
love the animated movie is so freaking good, and I feel like it does more than this movie did in 2.5 hours. It does more in an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know how, but it does.
I think it's very clear they were trying to do something different with this movie, right? I don't think they wanted to copy the comic straight from it. They didn't want to copy the animated movie, which I like to like like a certain point because we do have that movie, and it's not like we want just like a live action reboot of that film. So I get that you kind of do something a little bit different. But I don't know. I don't know if what they were going for completely landed for me. But I do really
Yeah.
kind of want I want a section really talking about Michael Keaton's Batman because I know you're a massive fan of Michael Keaton's Batman. That's your favorite Batman, right?
Live action, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, how did you actually? No, I actually want to read this comment right before I dive into that. Dark Flash was a boring villain in my opinion. I I I think that's maybe just because we didn't see much of him. I really
Yeah,
do.
he didn't do anything.
He came in. He's like, I'm Dark Flash. He
Like
killed.
we literally know nothing about his character until the end of the movie, and the scene's like a minute long, and then
Yeah.
he disappears because the other Barry sacrifices himself. Which that was another moment. Like I feel like that death was more emotional than fucking Michael Keaton's was.
Michael Keaton just kind of went. Eh.
He's like, dude, let me die already,
He
Flash.
like
Get
tried to
it?
kill himself. Like
Which
he's like,
I
all
get,
right.
I do get the point. Like the animated movie, which I just assume because I've never read the comic, I just assume that the animated movie is
Yeah,
more or less like a direct
it seems
adaptation of the
pretty
comic.
close. Yeah,
But like, Thomas Wayne Batman, he does die, but he goes out like an absolute G. He shoots Reverse Flash in
yeah,
the back of the head, and then in that world, like it gets nuked because Aquaman has a freaking nuke in Captain Atom. See, that's Zod has nothing on that.
sure.
That's what like that goes back to what you were saying earlier, and I agree with it. Is that like this feels like a world that like all you have to do is stop Zod,
And you're
and
good.
you're
Yeah.
good. Stopping not only stopping Reverse Flash wouldn't do anything, which the
Hmm.
animated movie proved. Stopping Wonder Woman, stopping Aquaman would do nothing at that point because
Yeah.
Aquaman already flipped the switch, and yeah, at that point it's game over.
Yeah.
That world's done for.
I think there needed to be like the second element of like casualties to a threat that makes sure like, oh yeah, you have to go. Like you have to fix this. This world sucks. You can't live here. And I didn't get
Yeah,
that.
no, it's like the animated movie. It's like, yes, this feels like a worldwide, like global threat. Like the world is about to literally end. This is World War III type shit, and
Sure.
even beyond that. And this movie is like in Man of Steel. It's like it just feels like it's like yeah, a lot of people are dying, a lot of stuff's getting destroyed, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's just Metropolis. It's one city.
Sure.
It's not the entire world that's like in danger right now. But also, like, the movie could have been, in a sense, saying like Superman was the only one that could stop Zod. Like he's the only hope that like the world has.
Sure.
Because like the whole build up to Supergirl was Barry searching for Superman. Like we got to find Superman.
Yeah.
We got to find Superman to stop Zod. He's the only one powerful enough.
I kind of wish we didn't know about Supergirl like in this movie, because I think that scene would have hit harder if we're like, all right, let's go find Clark, and then it's like, oh no, it's not Clark, it's Kara. Like I think that could have been a really cool scene, but we already knew about it from like the trailers and stuff. So I wish we didn't.
And a
Go
lot
ahead.
of stuff isn't. I was gonna say, isn't Supergirl like more powerful than
Yeah.
Superman? But I don't know if that's accurate.
No, female Kryptonians are stronger. So
It's like yeah, but Superman is like more experienced with his powers, and he can keep his like composure better than Kara can. So that's why, like in the end, at the end of the day, Supes is the one you want at your
yes,
side.
at
But
least that.
Kara is like in the grand scheme, she's more powerful
And also,
overall.
she's been locked up for like what 10 years. So like, she obviously
Yeah,
doesn't have experiences. She hasn't been around the sun very long. She's going to be
I
much
mean, yeah,
weaker
that
than Clark
was
was.
yeah, that was super similar to like the animated movie with the
Yeah.
Superman rescue scene, though. Like how he gets out sunlight for the first time, like
Mhm.
ever, because apparently they had him in that prison since he was a freaking baby. And he's like, "Oh, son." It's like light, and then he fries a bunch of SWAT guys, and she basically does the same thing here. It's just fries a bunch of Zod guys.
Yeah.
That was a cool
Yeah.
shot, though. Like the first scene of her using her powers.
It was. It was. I like that scene a lot. I heard that there was more from her that got cut. Obviously, I would have, again. I hope we see some like other scenes of it that was cut. It seemed like she goes like super brutal and murders a whole bunch of people, and that could have been really fun to see. I think what the original does really well, the like movie, is that I think they do a really good job at showing that this Clark is so like, he's a damaged man. He's been locked up in that cage or like whatever for his whole life. And I know Kara wasn't locked up as long as he was, obviously, but like, I don't know. I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of like deranged Supergirl, a Supergirl that's been locked up for all these years, I guess.
I mean, how much longer would she have been locked up though? Because like, isn't Kara is usually she's like a teen when like she
Yes,
gets sent in the
yes,
pod, and Superman he's a baby, so like she's got
and it,
she's so much older than Superman. Like she
yeah.
don't really ever think about it. Like she's like 15 years older than him.
hmm And it's also implied she didn't like it. I think it's implied that they caught her later, like she landed and she was going around trying to find Cal for a while and then got caught. It's just like what I got from that scene.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'd be curious if it's like 5-10 years instead of like what 20-30 years for Clark
Dude,
in that
I really
animated movie.
wish. Oh, I really wish like they would have like just done like a Clark. Like he didn't land in Smallville, he landed in the Soviet Union and gone the Red Sun route with Clark instead of doing the lame like he didn't survive. Clark is dead in this universe. I'm like, no, do Red Sun,
Yeah.
bro, do Red Sun.
What did
Come on.
you do? Which was
Dude,
a very good scene for her.
I would absolutely love a Red Sun movie. Like if
That would have been
one
cool.
day, yeah, it would be so awesome.
Elseworld is like out there, so we totally could.
Dude, that would be so sick.
I do want to circle back around on Michael Keaton, because yeah, again, this is obviously your favorite live action Batman. I mean, did this do justice for you getting to see this character again?
Oh yeah, it was nice seeing him again. I think Michael Keaton's performance is good. I would have liked to see him a little more, but I mean, I'm just a Batman fan, so I don't like saying that. I would have liked to see him more because like I am glad that it was a Flash movie at the end of the day. But I mean, yeah, I wanted a little more of him. But what we did get, I thought it was good. I thought some of his dialogue could have been written better, but as far as his performance goes, yeah, he was really good in it. Terrific performance.
Yeah, I think they balance that line very well. Of like, obviously those movies are very, I don't want to say goofy, but very silly at times, and his version isn't the most serious Batman out there. But I think they balance that line of very kind of silly and goofy moments with like a darker tone of a film very well. Like I think if he wanted to, Michael Keaton could play a darker Batman, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, which at times in like the Burton films, he is a darker Batman,
Sure.
and then at times he's like, I feel like as Batman he is mostly dark, unless like it's during a fight scene against some goon or something. It can be kind
Mm-hmm.
of silly. Like he
Sure.
disposes of them in a pretty comical way, and he's always got this like shit-eating grin on his face. But no, like something that did carry over, which I don't think it's intentional at all, but it's just funny, is the dialogue that Michael Keaton's Batman has at times just makes like little sense because like the from the trailers you could tell it kind of felt like a forced line because it was just a callback to Batman 89, the you want to
Yeah.
get nuts, let's get nuts thing.
Yeah, I liked it a lot more inside of the trailer than I did
And it's
like in the
just like,
movie because it
will you help us? Is what Barry
yeah,
is
it didn't make
asking.
sense.
He's like, you want
I think I would have preferred it
this
during the
line,
fight with
Darren?
Zod. Like I think I would have preferred it like when he's fighting Zod, if he like punches them and he's like, "All right, do you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts" or something, and then jumps over him
Yeah,
or
he
something
should
like
have
that.
just said it like before he died. He should have just been like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts, and then suicide bombed like all of them.
Yeah, sure.
He kamikazed them. But no, yeah, a line he has in Batman Returns that like makes no sense is when he's confronting the Penguin at his office, and
Yeah,
the Penguin asks Batman, "You don't really think you'll win, do you?" And Batman's response to that is, "Things change." And it's like, Batman, what do you mean, dude? You won the last movie. You defeated the Joker. You haven't lost.
yeah.
What do you mean things change? It's just it's similar to this. It was just a callback to like a line the Penguin had just earlier. Like that was a callback to 89 in this movie.
Sure. I want to talk about just we obviously talked about the overall Flashpoint story, but a big part of that story is Barry going back and saving his mother, and obviously that's such a tender story, and we saw it so much from like the TV show, and again the animated movie as well. But I personally really loved everything with Barry's parents, with his dad, the whole dad in prison stuff, the mother scene. I thought that the scene at the end with Barry and his mother and inside of the grocery store and like they hug. I love that scene. What did you think of like the whole mother stuff in this
Oh my
in this
god,
movie?
that grocery store scene. That scene almost made me cry. That was like that's
Yeah.
the scene that had me the closest, not Michael Keaton's freaking death. I'm like, what the heck is this movie doing to me?
Uh no, I thought it was very well done. I thought it was I don't know. I maybe I just have a soft spot for moms and like these parent stories. And again, it's very
Dude, she
hard.
was the actress that played her was so great.
She was really good. No, yeah, no, she was very good. And again, like there's as a fan of like the like show, there is a part of me that's like this actor did it better, but like they're both so good. Like both actresses killed it. I love both versions of these
From
characters.
from what I remember of the show, like they're like quite different performances too. Like
Yes.
I don't really know how to compare them.
Yeah, I mean, just in like the
And they're just two totally different versions of Barry too.
oh,
So like
100%. Like there is people that wanted like them to recast Grant as this Barry. He couldn't have done it. Not this version of this character. They are so drastically different. It's crazy. And I kind of that's what I love. Like I love having these different adaptations of these different characters. I know you weren't the biggest fan of this casting. Like has that changed at all for you?
oh, I mean uh,
Putting on spot.
so I was never that big of a fan of Ezra Miller's acting
Mm-hmm.
at all before this, but this
Yeah,
is like by far like this was the first performance of his I saw that I think is great. I would even say phenomenal. I think they are incredible in this freaking
yeah.
movie. And it's the real world events are just so unfortunate.
It does suck because I think under regular circumstances, I would be fine if they came back. Like if nothing happened behind the scenes, I'm like, they're great, bring them back because I think they did a great job. But with how the movie ended, and
I mean, I hope that one day they can. I hope they can continue their career one day. That they can
yes,
continue acting. But yeah, as far as this character goes, I think they're done. They are never going to be the Flash again.
yeah,
But I do hope they continue their acting career though, because like after this, I want to see more. Like they
yeah.
have so much talent. It's insane. Because
I
playing dual roles is not an easy thing of all
mm,
things, and they did incredible. This is definitely one of my favorite performances in any DC movie. It's probably one of my favorite performances in any movie.
oh wow, okay, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I thought they were great.
Everest in the house, how's it going, buddy? Um, I know this guy talking right now. Do you though? Do
Which
you?
one? Which
I
one?
know. Who? Who do you know? I do want to bring up the cameos because that's a big topic currently with this movie. So like towards the end of the movie, they they do a very different thing when it comes to showing cameos and different Earths and stuff. I was there any cameo that you really vibed with, or were you not a huge fan of them?
I mean, I thought they were fine. I'm more confused of why they didn't show others. Like why? Like I don't know. I don't want to ask for more, but like you kind of expect more with a movie like this, especially with how how long it took to get it. But
You know, normally I love cameos, right? I think they can be really fun, but I am kind of getting to a point in these comic book movies where they've become a lot. I think, you know, with like two Spider-Verse movies, with No Way Home, you know, with a bunch coming with like Deadpool 3 and like Secret Wars and Secret Invasion, you know, I think people love these cameo type things, and I'm getting a little tired of them, especially when this is like the third DC project that has done this, like, let's show a bunch of old CW actor things, with starting with Crisis, and then the season of Titans did the same exact thing. Um, so you know, I think by the time I got to the Flash, I'm a little it on him, and I don't think it helped that it was in a part of the movie that felt, I don't know, it felt very out of place, you know, and it felt like we were just getting to like this climax of this movie, like this like Dark Flash has come, and like okay, that's very interesting, and then it's like okay, look over there, there's Superman, there's Batman, and it's like oh okay, you know, whatever. You know, and again about the cameos and like themselves, I agree. I think I just I guess I didn't really vibe with most of their choices that they went with. You there?
I mean, I
Okay.
don't get why they only like showed Batman and Superman really. Like it was like
Mm-hmm.
three Superman and two Batman and then one Flash, and it was just a standard Jay Garrick
Yeah.
Flash. I'm just like, why? It's a Flash movie. Why not show like more Flashes? Why not show Grant Gustin? You know, because
Yeah.
why not show the what John Wesley Shipp in the '90s? Like,
John Wesley Ship, I think, is what they should have gone with. Like, especially in a movie that felt like they were focusing on those like golden age heroes and stuff like that. John Wesley, I like, I can like, I would have loved Grant. Like Grant's like he's my Flash, he always will be. But I get if you want to save Grant for future projects. Like if you want to save him for 10 years from now, him to appear in some kind of multiverse event. I get that.
I mean,
But
it's just a cameo though, so like, I mean,
yeah,
I don't get why it matters who you show. Just show
yeah, I
everyone.
mean, I don't know. Like they filmed stuff for Grant apparently. They had stuff for John, but it was cut. I guess they had stuff for like Linda Carter. It was cut. I don't know. Christopher Reeves. Um, like I don't know, like they passed the torch to Brandon, right? And he's been that version of that character. Why not bring in Brandon? I know like people have a thing against TV actors and stuff, but like I don't know. I think Brandon's great. I would have loved to have seen it come back. Like I think Brandon, Linda Carter, John Shipp. I think those would have been the three I would have loved to have seen.
I mean, I still thought like I don't know. Despite what everyone says about the Christopher Reeve cameo thing, and although I never watched any of the movies, you never got Christopher Reeve Superman and like that Supergirl together, did you? So like seeing them on screen together, like that was pretty nice. I thought it was pretty cool seeing like, and just seeing Superman, like seeing that was the first time we saw Superman and Supergirl on screen, live action for the first time, technically, although it wasn't real. We know that because obviously, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with this stuff. As long as like they get permission from families and stuff. I think that's my big thing. Like if families are like, all right, this is cool, go ahead, then I'm okay with it. But I heard there was some iffy stuff about that stuff. And then the other Superman, their name is escaping me currently, but I heard there's a lot of controversy around that about him having a dark history with that character. And I don't know. Like I think there were other characters you could have put in place of them if they were a dodgy choice, you know. So I don't know. It's a weird one, I think, but oh well. So let's talk about the ending just a little bit. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit here and there, but we end the movie with Flash returning to his timeline, or a version of that timeline, and it's George Clooney as George Clooney's Batman appears. What was your kind of just like reaction to this scene? Because it's definitely an interesting one.
I enjoyed it. I like seeing Clooney again. I thought it was fun.
Interesting. I was not a fan of it. I was not a fan of it. I think it makes a messy situation even messier, in my opinion, because I think there was a lot riding on this movie. They have like promoted this movie as like, this is how we are transitioning to new projects. And I don't think it's this film's job to do that. I really don't. But I think when you set that precedence with this movie and then you end it with George Clooney, there are a lot of people who think George Clooney's our new Batman.
Oh yeah, it probably confused people.
Yeah. And I think, you know, just like the DCEU, it's a very messy thing. And transitioning, like, it's such a hard job to get people on board to this new universe that's, I don't know. I wish they ended it more in like a closed book, because now there's so many people who want George Clooney's Batman. They want Ben Affleck's Batman. They want to see these new characters go forward, and I think that's going to cause confusion for many people who maybe aren't fully caught up.
People just need to start being realistic.
Yeah. I think Batman as a whole is just very confusing for people, because like there's people who think it's Ben Affleck, there's people who think Robert Pattinson's your DCU Batman, and now I bet people will say George Clooney is our Batman, and it's going to be none of them. We're doing a new actor, and for like our Brave and the Bold film.
Yeah, there's different Batman. I think, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure most people are aware of that.
Yeah, but normally not all at once, right? Normally it's like, all right, now he's doing Batman. And I think for a lot of people that was Robert Pattinson. And again, I love having two, but I think just kind of throwing another one into that mix, it makes it, you know, at least complicated
for people. The fact that Barry is Ezra in that scene and George Clooney's the Bruce there, I don't think that does anything, because that's not the universe we are going to be in going forward. Like,
yeah, but I don't think a lot of casual audiences know that. I think a lot of people just think that we're staying here. I think that's the thing, because I think it would have been easier if you transitioned it a little bit better. You know what? Like, I think bringing in new audiences are going to be very difficult for people who still think this is Justice League and Suicide Squad and Flash. And
For people that keep up with any of this, though, hasn't James Gunn already said that Batman is going to be like early 30s or whatever, like late 20s to early 30s?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's obviously not going to be George Clooney.
Yeah, but I'm saying as we market, like, because I think they need to market to your casual audiences who don't like the people who watch this stuff are very casual. Like there's like a big percentage of this fandom are people who just see a trailer and like, all right, we're gonna go see this movie now. And I think that's going to be difficult to bring in these new people who have like lost faith in these franchises. So
I feel like people have, if they haven't already became accustomed to that with Batman, they probably are close to that because Batman, like the actor changes for him every 5 years at this point. So, and now there's going to be like more than one at a time, which might take some people a little bit of time to get used to. But like I'm sure it's not going to take long to adjust to that.
Yeah, we'll see. I think DC as a whole, again, I think marketing is going to be key, right? Like marketing, they have to.
That's any movie.
Yeah, they need to market. I think especially Superman though, because like DC's I think in a really rough spot. Like especially when like as we're looking at this box office, I think there's several reasons why the box office didn't do well this time around. If that's just June, like this June schedule being so hectic. If it's like
I think it's just a lot of people hate Ezra Miller for
it's Ezra. Yeah, I mean it is Ezra for sure. I think it's also just like people have lost faith in DC. I think there's a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, DC still sucks or whatever. And if that's true or not, I guess
there's a lot of people that just want to and there's a lot more people that will just jump on that train because a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think DC's in a weird spot. Arkanai says, I think the universe switch up would be messed up no matter what for casual audience. Why not give old Batman fans something fun if it's screwed up anyway? I
totally agree with that, wise man.
I can get that. I'm personally I'm not a huge fan of it, but I can maybe get that point of view. I wish they just ended it in a more open way that kind of segue a little bit, especially since we went in going in thinking that's what we were doing. Like James Gunn is like, okay, this is the bridge to these two universes, and that was a lie. I would argue, like they introduced the multiverse here, right? They obviously introduced that idea before we can swap over to a new timeline, but I don't know. But again, like
wouldn't that basically mean that like. So say that this post-Flashpoint world with Clooney as Bruce, it is the Schumacher like verse. Mm-hmm. So like that was the Kilmer / Clooney Bruce. That's where Barry is now.
Sure.
Or whatever. That's the like world he came back to. Ezra's Barry.
Yeah.
That means that like in another universe we got Christian Bale's Batman. In another universe we still got Affleck's Batman. In another universe, well, Keaton. He died. That was the Flashpoint that Barry. That's the universe that Barry killed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
and then in another universe, there's like Gotham and all that.
Sure. And I wonder if, like, I could see a world in like 10 years or so that maybe we come back to this, like maybe we do some healing. That actor has a break from acting, and then again, like Elseworlds, I think if we want, we could dive back into this world. We could have a Crisis on Earth X or something, or I'm sorry, on the Infinite Earths, and you bring back all these different characters. You have like Ezra Miller with like Stephen Amell Oliver Queen with like Gotham Bruce Wayne, or something crazy like that, which I think is always an option. But sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't know if Crisis on Infinite Earths would be a story they would do in an Elseworlds movie or not.
Oh no. I'm just saying that you bring all these characters together. Like you can have all your Elseworlds characters like merge kind of in like a Crisis.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but with that being said, we are heading into an hour 30. So I do want to just say, do you have any kind of final thoughts on this movie? Are there any things that we didn't talk about that you'd like to bring up?
Thought the movie was pretty good. Ezra was perfect. I thought Asher's performance was great. It was way better than I was expecting. Seeing Michael Keaton again was nice. His performance was really good. Supergirl, she was great for what we got of her. And I hope she's Supergirl moving forward. I hope we
Yes.
see her again because I think her performance was really good with what she had.
I agree. I liked this movie, but I think it could have been better. I think I wanted.
Yeah, you can say
I
that about most movies, though.
yeah, I don't know. I think I wanted an overall cleaner story, but I had a good time. I loved seeing the Flash on like a big screen. I hope this isn't the last time we see Flash on a big screen because I think he can be like your blockbuster phenomenon if you let him under different circumstances.
I mean, yeah, he's one of DC's most popular characters still.
Yeah, I hope that this movie doesn't kill him with like the blockbuster side, like because the budget side of things, because it seems like it's losing quite a bit of money, which is.
I mean, he's a core part of the Justice League, so like Gunn is
Mhm.
definitely going to have to include him in some way.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't think we got to worry about the character dying. I hope. Yeah, I
I
know what
just
you're
mean like a
saying
solo
though.
project.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope we get no. Yeah, I really want a Flash versus the Rogues movie. I just want that.
Yeah.
Give me it.
But with all that being said, so I want to wrap it up here. Braden, do you have any projects that you would like to promote? To like be like, hey, I'm working on this thing. Anything that you want to shout out?
I have a YouTube channel if you'd like to go check that out and subscribe and stuff. And I'm not,
Subscribe.
yeah, not really active anywhere else. So,
Yeah, links to that should be down below. If I haven't added it already, I will after the stream because I sometimes forget stuff like a dummy. And on my side of things, obviously you have all my normal stuff. You have the like channel, and we have a Discord and Twitter and all that fun stuff. Going into next week, I don't exactly know what streams we're doing next week, but you probably find me next Wednesday. Me and Taz will most likely be back talking about Secret Invasion, Superman Lois, and Gotham Knights as we did yesterday. Those have been a lot of fun. But yeah, without further ado, I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye bye.